Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. It's such a huge honor to see you all here today. Thank you for being here. I want to begin by acknowledging and thanking the Elder Joanne Webb, for her welcome and blessing yesterday. Thank you, Elder. We gather on this land and we commit to doing the work of reconciliation and fighting for justice for the first people of this land. I gotta say, it is so great to see you all here in person after 5 years. And it is so great to be here in Hamilton. Shout out to Hamilton, the home of Mayor Andrea Horvath. There's lots of folks I gotta thank, and I wanna give a special shout out to the whole Hamilton NDP team for all their hard work, for welcoming us, for putting so much into this. Thank you so much. I want to thank all our elected New Democrats for being here from all over Canada. Thank you so much. We can't put on an event like this without incredible volunteers and an incredible staff. Thank you for all the hard work you put into making this such an amazing event. Thank you to the volunteers and staff. And most of all, thank you to all of you, New Democrats from coast to coast to coast. Thank you for taking the time to be here. You are truly the lifeblood of our movement. Thank you. Thank you. It's really important that we are coming together right now. It's particularly important because New Democrats are needed now more than ever. People are going through a really tough time, and they need us. Canadians, a lot of Canadians right now are experiencing life that's gotten a lot harder. Most young people right now believe that they will never own a home. We know that if you're a renter, you live with a constant fear that the landlord could just throw you out just to make more money. And if you have a mortgage, you watch every month as the interest rates go up, knowing someday you just won't be able to pay the bills. Partout au pays, les gens vivent les impacts de la crise du logement. Prix des loyers records, rénovations, manque de logement, pire marché immobilier du G7. C'est ça la vie sous Justin Trudeau. Et quand on lui demande ce qu'il va faire, il répond que ce n'est pas sa responsabilité. So what is Justin Trudeau's answer to one of the biggest challenges of our time, the housing crisis? Well, he said that it isn't his job to fix it. He said he should have and could have done more to build affordable housing. But the thing is, Justin Trudeau has never known what it's like to worry about making rent. It's just not been a priority for him because he doesn't realize how serious it is for so many Canadians. As you heard, when I was in my 20s, my younger brother had to come live with me because my dad was struggling, and home just wasn't a good place. One day, my mom called me, and she let me know that dad couldn't work anymore, and I was on my own. I remember those times. I had to work day and night, working hard to make sure I took care of not just myself, but also my kid brother. I remember my parents were struggling to pay the bills. I remember when creditors threatened to take our home. I remember having to take the calls from collection agencies. Those are really tough times. I don't want any family to go through that fear. I don't want any family to worry about that. It doesn't have to be this way. No, it doesn't. For decades, liberal and conservative governments have made the wrong choice. These governments chose to let big money investors and corporate landlords take over the housing market, driving up prices for everyone else so they can make a quick buck. We will make sure the housing market works for families, for young people, for seniors, for workers, not for rich investors. Si on se retrouve dans cette situation, c'est parce que les libéraux et les conservateurs ont fait le choix d'arrêter de construire des logements abordables. Ils ont choisi de laisser les riches investisseurs s'occuper du marché et faire des gros profits. Et maintenant, à la fois, Justin Trudeau et Pierre Poilievre tentent de blâmer les autres pour leur échec. Ensemble, Justin Trudeau et Pierre Poilievre ont perdu 1 million de logements abordables. 1 million. Honteux. Ces deux-là font mal à votre portefeuille. People get angry when they see how hard it is for them to get by while others are living better than ever. Justin Trudeau wants to ignore your anger. And what Pierre Poilievre wants to do is use your anger to divide our country. But when I talk to people who are angry about the cost of living, it makes me want to work harder for them and to make Ottawa work for them instead of the rich and powerful. See, the thing is, we all know this, corporate greed is causing inflation, and that's what we need to fight. Les gens sont fâchés et découragés. Ils font tout ce qu'ils peuvent et ils n'arrivent pas à joindre les deux bouts. Justin Trudeau fait comme si tout va bien. Et Pierre Poilievre veut diviser les gens parce que c'est utile pour lui. Moi, je veux qu'on utilise le pouvoir qu'on a pour faire en sorte qu'Ottawa travaille pour monsieur et madame tout le monde, plutôt que pour les ultra-riches. While you're paying even more every time you visit a grocery store, it's getting harder and harder for you. CEOs like Galen Weston are doing just fine. They're making record profits. Last week, we finally heard the great Liberal plan to stabilize grocery prices. Are you ready for this? This is their big plan. They told us in an announcement to check out grocery flyers. Literally, they thought that grocery flyers didn't exist before and that they made this happen. That was their press conference announcement. So let me get this straight. Canadians are struggling to buy enough food for their families. All they have to do is just do a better job of shopping around, according to the Liberal government. What a ridiculous plan. How out of touch are they? Grocery store workers literally went on strike for better wages because they couldn't afford to shop the stores they worked at. They were right to go on strike. I've spoken to these grocery workers. I've heard their stories. They deserve higher wages. And I can tell you something else. I have been on picket lines all over Canada. And I can tell you, the way you get a powerful paycheck is with a powerful union fighting for a bigger share of the profits that workers create. That's the way you do it. On top of all these challenges, Canadians are also living through devastating climate change. This summer, I met with people in the Northwest Territories who have lost everything. They know the climate crisis is real. It's here. They're living it. When fires and floods hit communities, it's regular people who lose the most. They lose their homes, their jobs, and the lives that they've built. But big oil and gas CEOs like to tell us that they are the ones that are really hurting. And conservatives want to take us backwards. There is no more time for arguing over the climate change and what causes it. We know what causes the terrible tragedies that are taking away people's homes and safety. It's fossil fuels. We need to cap emissions of oil and gas producers. We need to produce more clean and affordable electricity. And we need to make sure that no Canadian is left behind when we build this future with more, not less, renewable energy. This means we have to find better ways to support Canadians to heat their homes, to get where they need to go, and to live their lives. It also means creating good jobs, good union jobs that support families and fight the climate crisis at the same time. We can do both, and we need to do both. Les gens ont vécu une horrible saison de feux de forêt cet été. Des coûts immenses pour les gens, la crise climatique est là et elle frappe fort. Et pendant ce temps, Justin Trudeau continue d'investir plus de 30 milliards de dollars dans des oléoducs. Un premier ministre qui continue d'offrir des milliards en subventions aux grandes compagnies pétrolières. Et Pierre Poilievre, lui, agit comme s'il n'y avait pas de crise climatique. Vous méritez mieux que ça. L'NPD va forcer les libéraux à plafonner les émissions des grandes pétrolières. It's not just the threat of climate change that we have to face. Our world is also becoming a more dangerous place. Russian aggression towards Ukraine threatens the stability of the whole world. Foreign interference and the shocking revelation implicating the Indian government in the murder of a Canadian on Canadian soil makes so many in our country worry for their own safety and doubt the promise that this is a country where freedom of expression is guaranteed. And as we watch the horrific violence in Israel and Palestine, we confront the reality that it is always innocent people, children especially, who pay the price for war. It is 1 week ago today that we woke up to the news of the brutal attacks by Hamas on Israel. In the last weeks, I've heard from many who've shared their personal pain. Jewish Canadians, descendants of Holocaust survivors, who grew up hearing the stories of their families being dragged out of their homes and killed. They now watch these videos of young people, young Jewish people attending a music festival, shot dead or taken hostage. They fear that the world's promise of never again has been broken. I've heard Palestinian Canadians who grieve for those killed by bombs and rockets and live in fear of what tomorrow will bring. Their families are caught in a never-ending cycle of death and destruction. They're watching as Palestinian people are punished for terrorism they had no hand in committing. It is hard to see a path out of this darkness. There can be no justification for the torture, murder, and sexual violence committed by Hamas. And we must call for the immediate end of the killing of innocent civilians in Gaza. The world cannot stand by while the people of Gaza are left to die. New Democrats have always been the ones who nurture the desire for peace. Even when the louder voices call for war, we can never surrender to despair. And we can never forget that we share a collective humanity. and a collective responsibility to protect all people from violence and terror. Everywhere I go, I hear Canadians who tell me how frustrated they are with Justin Trudeau. They are just done with his delay and disappointment. But let's be very clear. Pierre Poilievre is not who he pretends to be. He would make life even harder for working people. When he had the chance to build homes that people could afford, he failed. And we only need to look at Doug Ford to see what Conservatives truly think are solutions to the housing crisis. Sell off public land to rich developers. Thing is, that's exactly what Pierre Poilievre has promised to do. He claims to care about working people. But you'll never see Pierre Poilievre taking on rich CEOs. He voted against having a federal minimum wage twice. And we don't forget that he passed laws to make it harder for unions to win better pay for workers. He made it harder to get a pension, delaying the retirement age to 67. He doesn't want you to get a pension, but when he retires, he will have a six-figure taxpayer-funded pension every year for the rest of his life. So you see, for Pierre Poilievre, it's all an act. He pretends to care, but he doesn't know how regular people actually live. Pierre Poilievre doesn't want to help, he just wants power. And he will use that power the same way Conservatives always use their power, to make the rich richer and to take away every bit of dignity from working people. Pierre Poilievre a beau essayer de se présenter sur un jour meilleur, mais on se rappelle de ses 9 années au gouvernement, coupure d'impôts pour les grandes entreprises et coupure de services pour le reste d'entre nous. Il a eu sa chance et vous en payez encore le prix. Maintenant, il veut couper dans votre pension et dans la science emploi pour mettre plus d'argent dans les coffres des grandes entreprises. Elle veut couper le programme de soins dentaires alors qu'elle a lui-même une couverture payée par le public depuis 20 ans. Pierre Poilievre va vous coûter cher. But here's the good news. Across the country, New Democrats are fighting back against Conservatives and winning. We are winning. Here in Ontario, Marit Stiles took on Doug Ford and won. Our Ontario team saved the Greenbelt and exposed the Conservatives' corruption. And now the RCMP are actually investigating Doug Ford's government. In Saskatchewan, Carla Beck is standing up to a bully, Scott Moe, a man who wants to distract from his horrible record by targeting the most vulnerable kids. Shame. And thank goodness for Rachel Notley. When Conservatives like Daniel Smith want to destroy the Canadian pension, they've got to go through Rachel and the Alberta NDP. They're standing up strong and fighting back. And of course, we have to celebrate the incredible victory of Premier Designate Wab Kinew in Manitoba, who beat a Conservative government. NDP, 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 NDP. See, WAP faced one of the most disgusting campaigns in recent history. Conservatives actually put up a billboard to highlight their promise not to search for the remains of murdered Indigenous women. But we know that Premier Canoe and his team are going to put people first in Manitoba. They're going to rebuild the healthcare system and unite people to build a more fair community. But you know who is probably the most happy about the election of WAP Canoe, besides, of course, the people of Manitoba? Premier David Eby. It's been a lonely time around the Premier's table. Now Premier Eby will have some company when he fights for affordable housing, fights for better health care, and to lift up working people. New Democrats are working hard every day to deliver results for people, like dental care. Hundreds of thousands of families are able to take their kids to the dentist now because we forced the government to fund it. We did that, not the Liberals, and certainly not the Conservatives. Now, I know that some of you, like me, have had the question, have to answer the question, why are you working with Justin Trudeau when he's doing such a bad job? Well, I gotta tell you, it is not easy. It is definitely not fun. But when people ask me that question, I think of Brianna. You heard her story in the video. 5 of her kids, are now able to see the dentist because of New Democrats, because of everyone in this room, because of all of you. Because all of you worked so hard to elect members of parliament that would never give up the fight for dental care. That's why we're New Democrats. Helping Brianna and her kids means that Conservatives are going to be mad at us. Yeah, they didn't want dental care, they voted against it. But we are not going to let angry Conservatives stop us. We are going to get dental care for seniors and people with disabilities and all kids who need it. We're going to make sure national dental care is a program in our country for everyone who needs it. No one has had a closer look at this Liberal government, this federal government, than me, I can tell you. I have seen what they do. And I can tell you with all confidence that they could be doing such a better job of making life better for people. They could be doing such a better job. And I have seen what is possible when New Democrats get the chance to use our power. I know that a new Democratic government in Ottawa would make life better for everyone, would truly lift up people. But nowhere is Liberal failure more clear than when you look at their broken promises to Indigenous people. Justin Trudeau promised to end boil water advisories, but there are still so many Indigenous communities without any clean drinking water. I visited Niskandiga, which has had a boil water advisory for 28 years. I listened to adults who have never been able to drink the water, and children who ask the question why they don't deserve clean drinking water when it is a fundamental right. Justin Trudeau promised to implement the calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, but in 7 years, only 13 of 94 recommendations have been fulfilled. He promised Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirited people that he would keep them safe. He would take steps, take action. But he drags his feet on simple demands like creating a red dress alert. There is only one party in Parliament that holds Justin Trudeau and the Liberals accountable for their broken promises to Indigenous people, and that's the New Democratic Party. That's us. We are the only ones. The reality is, Liberals only act when New Democrats force them. That's how we got Medicare, and that's how we are going to win pharmacare as well. Right now, Canadians pay some of the highest prescription drug costs in the world. Even the United States is taking on big pharmaceutical companies and forcing them to lower prices. But here in Canada, our own government, Justin Trudeau's Liberals, stopped the work of an independent regulator whose job it is to make drugs more affordable. The Liberal government literally took the side of protecting the profits of billionaires instead of protecting you. And now they want to weasel out of their commitment again. But we are going to force this government to finally bring in legislation to lay the groundwork for pharmacare, to bring down the cost of medication for everyone, and to deliver a universal public Medicare that includes medication coverage for all. NDP, NDP. It's going to be a fight, though. They don't want to do it. This is going to be a fight. But it is a fight that I know you and I are ready for. We are also going to make sure that this government, once and for all, brings in anti-scab legislation. So the workers have the power to demand better wages. And we're going to use our power to force this government to confront the housing crisis. We have to build more homes that people can actually afford, and we have to do it faster. We can save affordable homes from being sold off to rich developers. We can use the federal power we have, the money and the land, to build homes that are affordable. We can get Canada building again. Pendant que le Bloc chiale, que Pierre Poilievre dit ses slogans et que Justin Trudeau déçoit, l'NPD travaille pour livrer des résultats. On a remis 1 000 $ dans les poches de 11 millions de personnes. On a permis à de nombreuses familles de recevoir 1 300 $ pour que les enfants puissent se faire soigner les dents. Et on n'a pas fini. Nous nous battons pour que vous payiez moins et obteniez plus. Des loyers moins élevés pour tous. Des salaires, oui. Des salaires plus élevés et des meilleures conditions de travail. Des médicaments gratuits. Des factures d'épicerie, de cellulaire et d'Internet moins élevées. Des meilleurs soins de santé. Friends, this is a difficult time for many in our country. But our team of New Democrats are here to work hard and to deliver results. That is what we do every day in Ottawa. That is what all of you do in your own communities. I know how hard New Democrats are working across the country, and I am so inspired by your dedication. We have teams of activists that are knocking on doors every day of the week, talking to their neighbors about our vision for a better life. We have incredible leaders everywhere, like Claudia Chender in Nova Scotia, Jim Din in Newfoundland, Alex White in New Brunswick, Michelle Neal in Prince Edward Island. They are all standing up for healthcare and affordable housing. Les néo-démocrates québécoises entendent la déception causée par les libéraux comme Stephen Guilbeault, qui tient de beaux discours sur la lutte contre la crise climatique et qui laisse les grandes entreprises pétrolières et gazières s'en sauver avec les dégâts qu'elles causent. Honteux. And in the North, New Democrats like Kate White are leading the way, making life better by forcing the government to bring in policies like rent control and better access to health care. It's never been easy to be a New Democrat. It is hard work. But let there be no doubt, we have made Canada a better place to live. New Democrats have made Canada a better country. I think a lot about the world I want for my daughter, Anhad, who'll be joining me on stage hopefully soon. My parents came to Canada so that we could live a better life. I also want Anhad to be able to dream a future without limits and to know that she can make those dreams come true. I want her to know the value and reward of working hard, but I also want her to have time for joy. Je veux que Anhad puisse choisir comment vivre sa vie sans peur. Je veux qu'elle sache toujours qu'elle en aura assez. Assez d'argent pour combler ses besoins et assez de temps pour passer avec les gens qu'elle aime. Je veux qu'elle se sente toujours en sécurité, qu'elle sache que nous prenons soin de notre planète et de notre avenir d'une manière qui assure non seulement notre survie, mais aussi notre bien-être. So many people tell me that they're just exhausted. Like Amber, who broke down in tears telling me how she had to rewrite her household budget 6 times and still couldn't find a way to choose between rent or food or gas to get to work. She is doing everything right, but still somehow falling further and further behind. It shouldn't be this hard. Canadians need a government that makes life easier, a government that works for you so you can build a good life, a home that you can afford, work that pays the bills and leaves you with enough energy to play with your kids at the end of the day, a family doctor available when you need one, enough money left over to take a vacation, knowing you can walk into a grocery store, buy what you need, and get those special treats for your loved ones, and not have fear that you can't afford it. Less worry, more joy. Less fear, more hope. Less greed, more compassion. New Democrats, we have a lot of work to do. Are you ready to take our vision to Canadians? Are you ready to work hard? Are you ready to win? NDP. It is my great honor, the honor of my life, to work beside you, shoulder to shoulder with our dedicated team of MPs. And I promise you, together, we will build the Canada of our dreams. A Canada where we measure success by how well all of us live, not just those at the top. Where our children will build an even better future for themselves. A Canada where we look out for one another. Where leaders use their power to serve the people, not the CEOs. And where we are united by our common values, not divided by hatred. This is the Canada we believe in. This, my friends, is the Canada that we believe in. Friends, it is not too late to build this better world. Let us do it together. Merci. Thank you so much. Merci.